Welcome back to the channel. This is the Action Figure Grader, and we're not talking about action figures today. We're going to talk about CGC graded comics all over the map in terms of era. We've got Bronze Age, Copper Age, and modern books to go through, and I believe these are all 9.8s, but some interesting books, some stuff that we haven't talked about before. Really interesting prices for some of these books that we may never see again for some of these, but one of these that you will see occasionally pop up for sale in a 9.8 with white pages is Iron Fist number 14. That one sold on eBay for $39.50. This is the first appearance of Sabretooth, the villain, who obviously reprised his role in the recent Deadpool versus Wolverine movie. Maybe we see him again in, some sort of X-Men related movie. There's been talk that they're going to bring the X-Men and Deadpool into the MCU and have it kind of a proper, full team thing going on with Deadpool and X-Men. So maybe we see Sabretooth again. Maybe we don't. If you watch the movie, you know exactly what happened to him, at least in the kind of alternate universe or kind of battle royale type spot where a lot of those villains were banned to in kind of the, it's like a purgatory type of thing that was in Deadpool and Wolverine. But this is not the toughest book to get in a 9.8, but it's also very pricey because it is from 1977. There's not a ton of them on the census, and that one did sell for $39.50. I mean, gosh, during the height of the comic book boom, this was going for $5,000 to $6,000 all day long, and it is a great cover. I really like that cover a lot, but that one did sell $39.50. We've got two different Star Wars number ones that sold in a 9.8. First was off-white to white pages that sold in an auction for $24.52. That was actually a little bit higher than I was expecting for off-white to white pages. I think if you're patient right now in the current environment, you can probably pick up a white pager 9.8 for Star Wars number one, about the same price at $2,400 to $2,500. So I'm a little surprised it went that high in an auction, but that's what it was. The more surprising one was this one. This one was a 9.8 with white pages, and it sold in a buy it now for $4,800. Don't spend $4,800. That is not a valid price in my opinion. And I'm assuming that this is a legit sale. Okay, I double checked it, but it did say sold when I went to 130point.com, and I don't know if they're playing games or if it's just somebody that doesn't know the market or what, but $4,800, we haven't seen that price for a Star Wars number one in a very long time. Don't spend that kind of money. Spend $2,400 to $2,500. Maybe you go to $2,600 if it's perfectly wrapped and really nice colors. This one had a little bit of a miswrap in the lower left-hand side, as you can see right there, but it's very minor. But really to look for the bleed through on the Star Wars logo. But still, even a perfect copy right now in an auction shouldn't go more than, I would say, $2,500, $2,600, somewhere in that ballpark. G.I. Joe number one, we got several sales for that. First, we've got two direct editions that sold. This was a pretty perfect looking copy, 9.8 white pages, that sold for $9.75. And then we had another one that also looked really clean, was recently graded, and that one sold for $9.85. So that's a nice tight price range for G.I. Joe number one in a direct edition 9.8 with white pages. The more interesting sale was this one, which is the newsstand edition, white pages, 9.8 again. And that's a little tougher to find. It's not impossible by any means, but it is going to be more expensive than the direct edition, obviously. It was listed for $13.50. The best offer accepted was $12.50. I've seen it get down in an auction to $11.50 in that ballpark, but someone did pick this one up for $12.50. I understand why. It was fairly recently graded. It was pretty perfect copy. The photos weren't great relative to some of the high-res photos that you get now when you submit to CGC. They automatically submit high-res high-res photos for you. But this one looked pretty clean just based on the limited photos there. So $12.50 was the sales price. Here is an interesting one, a book that I had never seen before. This was from 2009, and it's called Predator number one from Dark Horse Comics. This is not the first appearance of Predator. Predator number one, the Dark Horse book was from the 1980s. I think it was 1989, I believe. And that's a pretty iconic cover. It shows the Predator in the city kind of doing a triumphant roar. This cover, I don't know what is going on in this cover. It's a highly stylized cover. It almost looks like samurais holding laser rifles, but it's a very strange cover. And this was a newsstand edition. It's a 1-of-1 from 2009, and it sold for $1,800, which is a massive number. I'm really surprised that this sold, but when it's a 1-of-1, you can kind of set your own price. And if you're a massive Predator fan and you don't really care about the money, then maybe you just pony up for it. I don't know. But to get a 1-of-1, you know, there's some bragging rights there, but it's not the greatest cover if you ask me. I mean, what is going on in this cover? I have no idea. I mean, it looks like samurai aliens with, you know, laser. I mean, it almost looks like Halo, the video game, which we're going to talk about at the end of the video, but no idea what's going on in this cover, but it still sold for $1,800. It was a newsstand edition from 2009. Next up, Evil Ernie. I don't know if anyone remembers Evil Ernie from 1991. It had kind of a cult following and still does. This is from Eternity or Malibu Comics from December 1991. 9.8 white pages. That sold for $22.50. Very big number. And this one's held its value very well for what it is. It's, again, a very strange concept that not everybody really got, but it does have its fans, a very, you know, devoted legion of fans. And so this is the origin and first appearance of Evil Ernie, first appearance of Lady Death. I don't remember much about Evil Ernie. I had a buddy that was really into Evil Ernie for some reason back in, I guess it was late middle school, early high school, but I never got into it. But this book is very, very pricey in a 9.8. So if you got a super clean raw copy, at least you know if you can get a 9.8 out of it, press and clean it and send it in to CGC, it's got some value. Next up, Voltron #1. They are working on a live-action Voltron movie, the last I heard. I don't know if it's still going to happen or not, but I think it's happening. That's the last I heard about it. I'll certainly see it. I mean, if it's anything like the old cartoon, which I would absolutely love growing up, if they can stick somewhat to the original source material, then hopefully it'll do it justice with the special effects that are available to movie studios nowadays. But this is a 9.8 white pages, sold for $315. Great looking cover there, but that's the first appearance of Voltron in U.S. comics. There is apparently a Japanese only comic that came out before this book in 1985, but this is really the one you want, the easier one to find. I don't even know the name of the Japanese book, but there is supposedly a Japanese only comic that had Voltron's true first appearance in terms of timing. But this one was from 1985 and did sell for $315. We have the first appearance of the Thunderbolts, Incredible Hulk number 449 from 1997. Obviously, the Thunderbolts just came out in a movie. I've heard it's good. I wasn't expecting much from it, but everyone I've talked to who saw it said it was very well done. So I'll have to watch it when it gets on Disney Plus eventually. This one sold for $212.50. It's dropped like a rock, as it usually does after the movie shows up. But the movie has done fairly well at the box office, much to most people's surprise. But it supposedly is a pretty well done movie. So $212.50 for the first appearance of the Thunderbolts. I've got some Spawn books that were really interesting. This is a very difficult to find black and white edition from Spawn #1. And so this is kind of like a re-release of Spawn #1, which I think came out in 1991 or 92, somewhere in that ballpark. But this black and white edition has a very low print run. It's very, very difficult to get in a 9.8 because of that black border on the cover. Very cool looking cover. I really like this cover, but it's an expensive book. It used to be a lot more. It used to be about double what this one sold for at $15.32 in an auction, but still a very difficult to find book. Not only was it low printed, but it's also just nearly impossible to get a 9.8 for this book, just given the black border on that one. It kind of reminds me of Aliens #1, which is another book that's got a very dark cover and almost impossible to get a 9.8 in. But this one was a beauty and did sell in an auction for $15.32. I've got some Gunslinger related Spawn books I wanted to show you. This is Spawn number 175 with the great Gunslinger Spawn cover, signed by Todd McFarlane with the custom label. That one sold for $800. And then Spawn number 174 is really the first appearance of Gunslinger Spawn. And this one, you know, it's kind of the first appearance. The second appearance would be this one, which we just looked at. But Spawn number 174 is really the first appearance. I actually like this cover better. There's something kind of mysterious about it. And it does go for quite a bit more money. Obviously, since this one's unsigned, the other one was signed by Todd McFarlane, which adds a few $100 to the price. But this unsigned Spawn number 174, the first appearance of Gunslinger Spawn, sold for $800. And as a side note, supposedly it was misspelled Gunslinger Spawn. You can see it right there, Gunslinger Spawn, S-P-A-N-W. So it's misspelled on the cover, which I don't know how that happens, but, you know, it doesn't matter how many people you got proofreading, you know, a comic book cover. These kind of things do happen sometimes. So that's a pretty interesting side note for the Gunslinger Spawn's first appearance book. $800 on that one. Next up, I got some ASM books. We got ASM number 238, 9/8 with off-white to white pages. That one sold in an auction, in a buy it now situation for $12.75. This one does have the tattoos insert, obviously, since it got the blue label, and this is the direct edition. Great cover. I've got this one in my own collection in a 9/8. Beautiful book there. We've got the first Todd McFarlane Spider-Man comic, which is ASM number 298. This has Chance on the cover with the black suit Spidey, and that one sold for $4.95. That's a great looking cover. I wouldn't mind having that one day. Next up, obviously, is ASM 300. One I'd like to pick up probably next year. This is the first appearance and origin of Venom, a pretty classic investment grade book. And this one was beautifully cut, really nicely centered, really nice colors, fairly recently graded. That one sold for $27.50, which is probably at the upper end of the value range for this book right now. $2,500 to $2,600 is a usual number, but this one had really nice colors. And, you know, the the right hand side is where you can see if it's been nicely cut, because the 300s going all the way down are fairly close in terms of how it cuts all the way down. And this one was not perfect, but it was pretty close. Really nice centering to that book. So $27.50 feels like a pretty fair deal for what that book is. Great looking book there. ASM 316 in an old style case, 9.8. This is really the first full Venom cover. You know, he got his head on ASM 299, I believe, or maybe it was 301. 299. And then 300 obviously is his first true appearance and origin. But this is the first time you really see Venom in all his glory fighting Spider-Man. Great cover. I absolutely love this cover. I've got one of these in a 9/8. $4.99 was the sales price on that one. I think you can actually pick it up for cheaper than that right now. You might be able to get it in the low $4s right now in an auction. But that one did sell, old style case, for $4.99. Next up, we've got New Mutants 98, obviously. This is the first appearance of Deadpool in a direct edition, 9.8 white pages for $10.99, $1,100. That's up a little bit from our last look at New Mutants 98, which has kind of been hovering between $900 and $1,000. This one did sell in a buy it now for $1,100. Wait for an auction. I bet you can get it for cheaper than $1,100. Another interesting sale was this newsstand edition of X-Men number 221, which is the first appearance of Mr. Sinister. It's a great cover, but it doesn't have Mr. Sinister on the cover. I think the first cover appearance was 239. Is that right? Somewhere in there. It kind of shows him, you know, on the cover, and it's a great looking cover. It's not very expensive, obviously, but this book in a newsstand edition can get kind of pricey. And that one did sell for $800. That's down, though. I mean, a year ago, this was even closer to $1,000, but this one did sell for $795. We've got some autograph books. First, we've got The Dark Knight Returns #1, a pretty classic book that ushered in the Bronze Age of comics from Frank Miller. And this one is signed by Frank Miller in a 9/8 signature series, $917.80 for that one. Pretty decent deal on that one. Another one, this is an awesome cover for both Batman and Star Wars fans, because if you know anything about the animated Batman show, you know that Mark Hamill voiced the Joker, and he did an incredible job. You could make an argument that Mark Hamill's portrayal of the Joker is second to none. I mean, it is just an incredible voice that he uses for the Joker. And this one is signed by Mark Hamill. This is Batman Adventures Annual. And I believe this is the first appearance of Roxy Rocket. And it's a pretty great cover. Really great cover, signed by Mark Hamill, 9.8. That one sold in an auction for $4.90. That feels like a really good deal to me. You know, obviously on any Star Wars book, even like a crappy Mandalorian comic, we've seen that one go for $800. And to get a more important book in terms of keys, this is a great deal, I feel like, to get Mark Hamill's signature on Batman Annual #1. Some other autographs, we've got Nicolas Cage signed Ghost Rider #1 from 2022. An absolutely stunning cover. This cover is unbelievable. Look at that cover. That is unbelievable. Signed by Nick Cage. And that one sold for $374.63. That feels like a pretty good deal there. I mean, look at that cover. Man, that is just super hot. I'm bound and determined next year when I end my buying hiatus, I'm trying to go the whole year this year, but next year I do want to get some Signature Series 9/8, and this is the kind of thing I would perfectly target. This would be an awesome display piece. I love that cover. That is just unbelievable. Next up, another one I wouldn't mind having is a Hugh Jackman signed Wolverine book, and this is Return of Wolverine #1 from 2018, signed by Hugh Jackman. What a weird looking signature he's got. That one sold for $635. Huge number on that one, but it is a great looking cover, and it is signed by Hugh Jackman in a 9.8. All right, now we're going to finish the video off talking about video games. And this was an interesting sale. This was the Halo graphic novel, which is really the first appearance of Master Chief. And this one is signed by the voice actor that portrayed Master Chief in the video games. And it says, "Finish the fight, Master Chief 117, and the gentleman that portrayed him was Steve Downes, I guess. And then you also have it signed by Cortana, who is Jen Taylor. So Jen Taylor voiced Cortana, and then Steve Downes voiced Master Chief. Double signed with remarks, 9.8 white pages, and it's a graphic novel. How awesome is that? It's the first appearance of Master Chief in any sort of kind of comic or, you know, graphic novel type thing. And that one sold for $1,000. Very, very cool. I wonder if they'll ever make a Halo movie. And I know that they made that miniseries that I think was on Paramount Plus. I never got to see it, although it looked like the production values were very good on it. But I would love to see a you know, Halo movie or Master Chief movie. I don't know if it'll ever happen, but the one I really want to happen in terms of a movie is Gears of War. And I'm shocked that it hasn't happened yet. But this is the first appearance of the Gears of War's team, Marcus Phoenix and all the other guys. I played Gears of War 1, 2, and 3 to death on the Xbox 360 and Xbox One. And this cover is kind of lacking. It's not a great cover. There is an alternate cover that's a little better that has Marcus Phoenix on it. But I'm just shocked that they have not tried to put together a screenplay for Gears of War. It would just be an incredible movie. But this one did sell for $200. And if the Netflix, you know, they say there's a Netflix movie happening. I don't know if it'll ever happen, but if it does, I'll be the first one to watch it because I did love those games growing up. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this look at recent CGC graded comic book sales. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll be back soon.